Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Mary Black has admitted what we have always known, that the Scottish Government cannot afford to give away all the freebies it's been giving away for years, and she says some of them may have to stop. And we're talking big policies, tent poles as they used to be called. These were the things that Nicola Sturgeon came out and said she was so proud of. Things like free education and bus passes for all. These would be an embarrassing failure if the SNP were to cancel them, but they simply cannot afford them. But we've said from day one they were completely unaffordable. So let's have a look and see what else the SNP have got wrong in a spectacular way. Here goes. So Mary Black hints Humza Yousaf may axe more freebies and blames Westminster for it. Because of course it's Westminster's fault. They bring in these policies that everyone says from day one are unaffordable. He's done it. Well, not him personally. This was the previous regime, but he's part of that. But they've done it. The SNP have done that. And now, of course, now that it's proven that everyone was right, that it is unaffordable, that it was sheer madness and that they have to cancel it, it's Westminster's fault. That's right. Remind people at this point that the SNP underspent by £2 billion last year. Where did that money go if it didn't go on to such things as free education and bus passes? Because it certainly didn't go into NHS care, social care or transport. £2 billion. Is it sitting in black bags in cash next to the plane, ready for them to skittle out and go to some non-extradition country? Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, the SNP's deputy Westminster leader appeared on ITV's Peston show, where she hinted that the Scottish Government may have to make tough decisions on potentially axing free tuition and bus passes. And there she is. And she is just another one of those morons who's been given a platform. Hasn't got a clue about what she does that harms people. The SNP's Westminster deputy leader hinted that Humza Yousaf may be forced to axe more freebies in Scotland, like tuition fees and bus passes, before trying to blame the UK government. These are things that are exclusively devolved powers. They're exclusively in the domain of the SNP government and have been for 16 years. And this is the government that underspends. So where's that money going? Where's it gone? Why are they saying that they can no longer afford these things? It's not as though they've spent the money on other things. Is it? Is it? No. Wouldn't trust them. Mary Black also disputed her leader's decision to roll back free school meals for all children in schools north of the border, which was also blasted by unions and opposition critics. Yeah, he's saying that, we've got to put... he's using a good Tory policy of saying it's got to be costed, that people who can afford to pay for the meals must do, and it's only those who can't afford to pay for the meals that get the assistance. So she's saying, no. She's disagreeing with her boss. All is not well in the SNP. There's no united SNP anymore, not since Sturgeon left. If Sturgeon was in charge, Mary Black would not have dared open her mouth. And it goes to show how little power and how little authority Humza Yousaf had. She appeared on ITV's Peston on Wednesday night, where she was quizzed about the First Minister's widely derided decision, which came on the day he convened an anti-poverty summit in Edinburgh. Yeah, he's saying child poverty is a terrible, terrible thing. We're going to take food away from them. Really? I mean, does the guy not understand how sound bites work? Does he not understand the optics of situations? He has got no grasp. No political nous at all, has he? He's got no understanding. Mr Yousaf is undertaking a review of his party's manifesto in a bid to make savings and has already axed £46 million worth of funding to colleges and universities. He's understood to be planning a budget review this month and is set to explore ways to tax middle-class Scots even more. I've done a video earlier this morning on that. They're looking to massively increase the tax take by increasing taxes and lowering thresholds, without realising that that will lead to the complete opposite effect, and the tax base will fall and he'll get even less in tax. But hey, this is what happens when you put a moron in charge. The SNP previously prided themselves on bringing in a number of policies that gave freebies to everyone in the country. This included tuition and bus passes for the under-22s. But in the strongest hints so far that they're looking to roll these back, Miss Black suggested that this might be the case and blamed Westminster and being in the Union for this. Oh yes, it's obviously Westminster's fault that the SNP's policy, that is controlled by the SNP, that is funded by Scotland alone, and that they've decided to spend this money in this way, despite everyone telling them that it was madness. It's gone wrong and they're running out of money. Well, what do you think? Stupid, stupid people. ITV journalist Robert Peston asked her if she agreed with Mr Yousaf's decision to bin the SNP's manifesto promise to supply free school meals for every kid in Scotland, and then she immediately disagreed with her own boss. She said no, and I tell you why. First of all, I think one of the things I'm proudest of for the SNP and what's happening in Scotland is our commitment to universalism. Now, what Humza was actually getting at there was he's saying, look, as long as we stay part of this political and financial setup, when we have so little control of our finances as a country, then the Scottish Parliament is ultimately going to be forced into making difficult decisions. That line is utter bullshit. Scotland has got tons of money. They get more money per head than the rest of the Union because of the Barnett formula. They get their money because they raise their own taxes internally at a higher rate than England do. Scotland has the cash, we know that, and they, like I say, they underspent by £2 billion. Money that could have been spent on these things, but obviously hasn't been, and we have to ask where the hell it's gone. Now she's saying, oh, we're going to ban, we're going to stop, he's saying, sorry, we're going to stop the school meals, free school meals for everyone, and she's saying it's wrong, and so she's just creating another rift in the party. And it is, but blaming it on Westminster is completely wrong. This isn't a Westminster issue. Westminster doesn't tell you how to spend your money. They provide the money through the Barnett formula as well as your own internal market taking up the taxes. So to blame Westminster for a policy that you have implemented is absolute bullshit. And you know it, Mary Black, you know it. You just cannot admit the fact that the SNP have got it wrong, because you never can, you lot. Anyway, it goes on. She's just blaming blaming the Westminster for all these things, and it is crap. I mean, even here we go. It says here, Scottish Conservative MSP Ros McCall called Mrs Black's excuse of blaming Westminster ridiculous. She told the Scottish Daily Express, every person in Scotland benefits from an additional £2,000 as a result of the union, and the UK government has provided billions in extra support in recent years, and they have. Sturgeon went to the Westminster and managed to get, I think it was 5 billion because of COVID problems. She was given 5 billion, and so she wouldn't have got that if she'd have been a foreign country. So she herself admits that actually, we'll do this, thanks, we don't like you, but can you give us 5 billion? Hypocrisy of the first water. These people, they just make you sick, don't they? They keep on about, it's always the English fault, it's always Westminster's fault, it's never our fault, and yet it's the money isn't coming from Scotland that helped them out during COVID. The money now, because of the Barnett formula, they benefit massively, but they don't want to admit that, and they certainly couldn't afford to do all the things they've done. Everyone said from day one it was unaffordable, and you know what? Everyone was right, and I'm coming up. Mary Black and those like her always blame England, always blame Westminster for their own problems. And they know it isn't Westminster, but they do it for a reason. They want to constantly push the narrative that Westminster's causing this, Westminster's causing that. Look at all the problems Westminster's causing, in the vain hope that people are stupid enough to believe them. But nobody is that stupid, except people who vote for the SNP, because some of them must be absolutely bonkers. They live in poverty, they live in terrible conditions, and still they vote for the people who put them there. It's ridiculous. But it isn't the fault of Westminster. And imagine Scotland was independent and it was having all these problems. Who would they blame then? Would it still be the fault of Westminster? Well, it probably would blame Westminster, because they can't ever blame themselves, can they? Because they can never admit that they're wrong, they can never admit that they're stupid. And that's the problem, and that is Scotland's problem. You've got people in charge who can never admit that they're wrong. And I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, please share a video, and definitely leave the like. That's the one that really helps us. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, Don't listen to Mary Black blather on about utter bollocks. And goodbye.